Do you often feel like, oh, I didn't do anything, why am I just tired? In the past, it was no problem to go out for a walk. Now when I go to the supermarket, I want to sit down and rest. After sleeping all night, I still felt lackluster the next day. Many people may regard these changes as saying, oh, am I getting older? Is my physical strength getting weaker? Is it because I haven't had a rest recently? But from the perspective of aging science, behind the scenes, it may be related to a more basic issue. What's the problem? It's a power plant in the cell. It disappears and declines. So what is the power plant in this cell? It is the linear body. The food we eat, the oxygen we breathe in, and finally all have to go through a series of blood replacement processes. It is converted into energy that can be used by this cell. Then the core task of the linear body is to create this energy. The heart needs to beat, the muscles need to contract, the brain needs to think, and after the body is injured, it needs to repair. These are all inseparable. This time at the Harvard School of Public Health, when I was listening to the professor talk about the science of longevity, I reviewed linear bodybuilding again. Dysfunction, a Chinese concept, refers to the decline in body function. It is one of the 12 signs of human age. As we age, the linear body's ability to generate energy may decrease. At the same time, more active nutrients and blood-replacing pressure cells are produced. Not only is the power insufficient, but it is also more susceptible to damage. So why do people get tired more and more easily as they age? The first reason is the same activity. The body mobilizes less energy. When you are young, when you walk or climb stairs, your muscles can quickly receive energy supply. After the linear body efficiency decreases, the sustained ability of muscle contraction becomes worse. If you move a little bit, you will feel that your legs are straining and you will be short of breath. After exercising, the recovery time will be longer. So the second reason is that after muscle loss and the decline in linear body function, they will promote each other. If you are less active, your muscles will not get enough stimulation, and your muscle mass will gradually decrease. After muscle loss, the ability to store and utilize glucose will also become worse. As the risk of blood sugar and blood substitution increases, the body becomes less energetic and less willing to move. The more immobile you are, the worse the function of your muscles and linear body will be. In the end, it will form a vicious cycle. So the third level of reason is that the brain is particularly sensitive to energy. The brain only occupies a very small part of the human body, but it consumes about 20% of energy. Therefore, when the linear body function declines, the brain is particularly vulnerable. This may involve attention, memory, and changes related to neurological diseases. Of course, since a person forgets and reacts slowly, he cannot simply judge and say that there is something wrong with the linear body. Because sleep disorders, depression, epilepsy, liver disease, and cerebral obesity can all cause similar symptoms, what should we do as ordinary people? The first situation is that the physical examination is basically normal, but the physical strength is worse than before due to sitting for a long time and not exercising enough. The most effective way for this kind of people is not to take so-called supplements to supplement their strength, but to gradually resume exercise. Aerobic exercise can improve cardiorespiratory endurance, and strength training can maintain muscles. The combination of the two exercises is more complete than walking. At the beginning, you don't need to pursue that level of intensity. You can start by walking briskly for 20 minutes and half an hour every day. Then, every time, start with 2 strength training sessions. Then slowly and gradually increase. Then the second situation is that there is also obesity, fatty liver, high blood sugar, or abnormal blood lipids. For this kind of people, they need to improve their environment first, because long-term heat excess and reciprocal resistance will further increase the burden on the linear body. So the specific approach is to reduce sugary drinks and high-calorie snacks. Then, control the total calories, increase the amount of activity, and reduce the weight by about 5%. At the same time, review the blood pressure, blood sugar, and blood lipids. So for many people, losing visceral fat is reducing skin cells. Then the third situation is sudden, obvious fatigue, chest tightness, shortness of breath, palpitation, weight loss, or walking ability. This text message point quickly deteriorates. This cannot be simply understood as saying, oh, this line force body. You need to check the order first. Infections, cardiopulmonary diseases, including hypoxemia, malnutrition, and drug liability, especially for the elderly, who have been listless for a long time. If so, only buy healthcare products. If you don't investigate the real cause of the disease, it's easy to delay the quality, Fouquet also emphasized that to judge a longevity intervention, you should not only look at the mechanism of action, but also whether there is reliable human evidence. So what kind of outcomes are actually improved? And is it safe for long-term use? So for ordinary people, the current evidence is more reliable. Physical intervention with lower linear force is still required for regular exercise. Control the risk of metabolic diseases and ensure sleep. So you get tired easily as you get older. It's not just as simple as a reduced battery capacity. Decreased linear physical function, muscle loss, and metabolic abnormalities may affect each other. But fatigue may also be a sign of illness, although it is difficult to determine whether there is illness or not. Then, safest order is to protect the energy system through exercise and lifestyle adjustments. Remember, the linear body is responsible for generating electricity. But cell point also has a recycling system that is responsible for dismantling the parts and cleaning up the garbage. Then if this system fails, no matter how good the power plant is, it will be brought down by the garbage. In the next issue, I will continue to talk about a concept that has been particularly popular in recent years and is also the most misunderstood. What is it about asking cells to take care of themselves? Eating less and fasting can really start self-care and delay aging. We will talk about it in the next issue.